on, guys? It's episode 511 of the Soul Not For Sale podcast, and I love this episode right now because Joe Rogan and Post Malone was on the podcast. I'm pretty sure he broke the record for longest podcast. I may be wrong. If he's not first now, he's at second place with 4 hours and 42 minutes and I think about 18 or 19 seconds. Very long podcast. Post Malone's a great guest to have on any podcast. If you haven't seen him, check him out. He's been on a bunch of different podcasts. Always a cool time listening to that guy talk. In this episode, though, Post Malone touches on some ground that nobody has touched on the podcast since Eddie Bravo, and that is NASA photoshopping pictures of space. Oh man, when this happened between Joe and Eddie, Joe was angry. They got into quite the fight over this whole thing. Eddie Bravo, if you don't know who he is, one of Joe's best friends, and he does not play around when it comes to conspiracies. So much so that he subscribed to this channel. Shout out to Eddie. What's going on? He and Joe get into it over this whole debate. Post Malone ends up bringing up the same thing in regards to Mars. And let's see the difference in how Joe reacts to the two gentlemen. Maybe he's rounded himself off a little bit in his older age. But first I'm going to play the Eddie Bravo clip where they just go at it. Brief clip. And then I'm going to show you him talking to Post Malone. Because Post Malone might be right, but not in the way that you're not in the conspiracy way, just in the way things work. So let's get into that. Before I do, I got to bring you to the store. This is IamCoachColin.com. We got Public Enemy #1. We got the Certified Pure Blood t-shirt. We got the Great Resist t-shirt. And we got the Soul Not For Sale t-shirt. All of those can be found at IamCoachColin.com. And if you have already bought something on our site, you are much appreciated. If you haven't, and you're looking to, and you want 10% off, I got you. Don't even worry about it. All you have to do is put in the discount code IamCoachColin. That's it. You put that in, you get 10% off. It doesn't matter if you're buying something big, something small, does not matter. And just so you know, I showed you some t-shirts. Those were for men or for women if you don't care about what kind of t-shirt you wear. But we have t-shirts for men and women, tank tops for men and women, and hoodies like the one you see right here. You can get all of that at IamCoachColin.com. It is the greatest anti-establishment clothing brand known to man. Go ahead and check that out. And again, if you have already, thank you so much. You have no idea how much we appreciate it. Now let's get into this. So we got Post Malone here. Let's switch this over. Boom, Eddie Bravo. Look at him. Stern, feet planted in the sand. He's not playing games. Let's play this clip.
Apply this to everything.
Basically anything coming from the government. Anything coming from the government.
The dinosaurs don't come from the government.
Just there's so much fraud when you look into
Astronomy
it. Astronomy
doesn't come from the government. It comes from scientists.
Look into it, man.
But Eddie, I have looked into it. Look,
dinosaurs are for kids.
Look, this is you could go over these different sections of the Earth. You can look at the next one that comes 10 minutes later. Maybe you won't think that one's fake. Like, oh wow, that one's kind of real.
It looks all fake.
It doesn't look fake. To me, it looks like what the fucking Earth probably looks like when you're 22,000 miles away.
To you, it does, not to me.
But what NASA's?
It's no big deal.
NASA
can we agree to disagree?
Yeah, but why think that it does?
Because I don't trust shit.
Why think that
I don't trust
the government does make these fake pictures of the Earth? Don't you think that would be like a risky
thing? We could speculate.
Thing?
You want to speculate? I mean, I could speculate.
I want to hear you speculate.
It's easier to control people when they're on a ball.
I've been trying to tell people that forever.
I don't know.
But like, we got to live on a ball. I told it to my wife. I said, it'd be easy to get the kids to listen if we just lived on a ball. Fuck this house bullshit.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe.
That doesn't even make any sense. Why would it be easier to get people to listen if they're on a ball rather than they're on a plate?
Because if there's more land, people are going to want to work. There's actually more land. Shit.
What do you mean? There's more land.
Who knows? If you
like the world,
exactly.
Like that's what are you talking about? I don't understand what you're talking about. Like more land.
You're saying if the world is flat and the flat Earth model is true, what's the point of it? What's the point of?
So all the math is fake. Like that the Earth is going 24 hours in a circle. Is that all fake? That it spins, it's going 1,000 miles an hour.
I don't. When you look into it, we're stationary. They haven't proved. If you look into the experiments. If you look into the experiments to prove that the Earth is spinning, all of them failed. Look into it.
What
you could just think that. We've been indoctrinated into thinking
that's not true. That's not true.
Okay, I'm crazy. I get it.
Eddie, Jamie, what you going to say?
I don't have the science in my head to back it up either, but that's not true. You can't say things like that. That's what Eric Dubé says, and he's not backing it up.
Where's the evidence that... Find the evidence.
There are 13-year-old kids in high school right now that can show you the evidence with scientific...
What is it? How come you can't show it to me?
Because I'm not in class right now, and I'm not up to date. I'm doing JRE work right now.
Okay, you're talking about some shit you don't know about. You're talking about some shit you don't know about.
But so are you. But you're saying
I'm just saying I don't trust it.
You're saying something that people have been proving for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Look into the Michelson-Morley experiments. That was a...
Oh man, it goes on like this. This is like, this is one of the best debates ever. I might do a video just about this debate alone because Joe gets mad. He gets very angry. Like you're seeing the tip of the iceberg with this one. But again, I show you that because Post Malone now brings up something very similar, and it's a little harder to argue with Post Malone. Probably because he doesn't have his feet so buried in the sand with his stance, and he's kind of just trying to figure. He's just pointing some things out, and it's an interesting conversation. A lot calmer Joe and Jamie in this clip, a lot calmer, but basically talking about the same thing. Not the flat Earth stuff. That's not what Post Malone is on at all, but just questioning NASA and the pictures that are seen. So let's get into it.
And now is there Xenon on Mars?
What is Xenon?
The Xenon, there's a chemical that, so the soil on Mars is supposedly enriched with Xenon enough to, I'll just throw out an arbitrary number, 1,000 megatons of nuclear, it comes from nuclear explosions.
What?
So, and they said that the soil, they said that the soil on Mars is super packed with it.
Yo, imagine if Mars was
there was
like
a nuclear
war
on Mars.
Where they just obliterated the whole planet.
How do you feel about the face?
So the problem with the face is it was a very low resolution camera, and it was convenient. And then when they went over it a second time, it's weird in the shape of it, but it didn't look like a face anymore.
So how do you feel about NASA having its own photoshopping branch?
Do they?
There's people at NASA that Photoshop. You look at a picture of Mars, what color do you think it is? It's like
a dusty tan.
It's like orange.
Right?
Would you pull up the real pictures of Mars, what they actually look like without the fucking filter on them? Am I crazy?
Like? What is
Check
Mars
it out.
Well, isn't it like
Earth
where there's different spots that have different color ground?
I don't know. So you look at pictures of Mars from 20 to 30 years ago, or whatever, and then you look at pictures of Mars now, they are drastically different because people caught on to why are you throwing a filter on Mars?
So they were changing the color of Mars?
Like that, yeah.
Interesting.
I'll pull up the photos I'm seeing, and you direct me to what it is.
Look at that one. Look at that one.
Like this one?
No, the first one.
This one?
Third one. Sorry, sir.
Oh, on the ground.
The ground.
Look at the sky there, okay?
Right.
Look at the sky there, look at the ground there, and then look at the second one even, in fact. There's an orange tint to everything on every picture that we've ever seen of it. But then if you look at it, look up maybe Mars without the orange filter.
But the lunar module doesn't look orange. Look at the lunar module. It's pure white.
It's just a filter. It's not pure white.
Okay.
Look at that. That looks just like Earth. It looks like a place on Earth. That could be a place on Earth, totally.
Right. Except for this, the sky is a little fucked up looking.
Let's do NASA Photoshop. I don't know. What do you call I keep saying branch, but it's like.
Well, I do know that just one way to explain some of it is that a lot of the photos they get from the telescopes are not actual, like with these cameras, it's not just taking a photo.
Sure.
It's taking data that has to be compiled into a photo.
Sure. Are these not from the rover though?
They are.
I'm talking about landscape photos.
No, but wouldn't it make sense that Mars looks different in different spots, and wouldn't it make sense that it looks different with different conditions.
Like, it certainly does.
Mars doesn't have any
that.
clouds.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like a photo like that, for instance, can't be taken normally. It has to
Right,
be,
right. But like the
That looks
landscape
like-
photos,
That looks
the
like
landscape
a space
photos.
monkey. That looks like a space monkey. Look at that. Doesn't that
He's
look
chill.
like a monkey?
That dude's chill as fuck.
Is that a real photo, Jamie? That picture looks like a space monkey. The picture that you just had up. Look at that.
He's cool. That's your new.
Doesn't
new
it?
logo.
This
Yeah,
says Photoshop NASA photos give new life to outer space imagery.
Yeah,
that's
they're turning
so
into a
fun.
monkey.
That's
a
not
monkey
real.
going
That's
like,
not real. That's not real, right?
That's where. So if you were one of these NASA Photoshop people,
exactly.
you would manipulate the photos in a little bit of a way to make them look a little more extraordinary.
Well, there's
So-
well, there's
that
something.
we
seems
talk
like
about them.
lying.
No, it's crazy.
I'm trying to use the right words here because like I can take a photo of you, Joe, and make it look, or both of you. Either
Could you put like the handsome filter on?
yeah,
us?
like there's
for me at least.
You can make
I want a kitty
Photoshop
cat
make
nose.
it look away. It didn't really look to anybody's eyes in the room,
Right.
But you can just tweak some things without adding really anything. You're just tweaking the light off the sensors.
And then there's.
But there are ways you can go way further with it.
Okay.
All right. So I mean, you can fucking trust YouTube as far as you can throw it, but looking at recent photos of Mars, and it could be camera. It could be a camera.
Well, if you look at a photo from like a Samsung Galaxy Note
Right.
2,
But it still
versus
doesn't
a
change the
photo.
color.
It
There's
does a
such
little
an
bit.
there's
Here's one maybe. So the first one on the left is unprocessed.
Unprocessed.
that's what they okay. All right.
And
So
on the right is
then
a
they
little
take the
processed.
okay.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't even
But this is
know.
also what you do for like
don't know it
filming
either.
a movie.
Right,
Out of
exactly.
the camera looks kind of like shit, and you have to.
But is it calibrated?
But why
for
are they trying to make it
accuracy?
look like a movie?
Well,
Because they're bullshitting us.
that's also
bro.
could be what we're used to seeing, and it just gives it better context. I'm not the one doing it, so I'm just trying to like think like them.
And is there Xenon on Mars?
There is Xenon, but I
Let's
couldn't
go!
figure out how much. But there's definitely articles about evidence of Xenon.
and
Look,
this
evidence for NASA. Oh, that's fucking
Isotopes.
I see a lot of
evidence for
smart. I see a
large
lot of.
nuclear reactor on Mars past.
I don't
There's
know
a lot
what
of
that is.
smart
I-
words here.
I was skipping that. It's just-
Bro, that's NASA.
Harvard.edu. That sounds very smart.
Well, that's just
NASA
what the
sounds
article
really
is. It
smart.
doesn't-
Yeah, no.
say that
Evidence for large natural nuclear reactor in Mars past. Why are they saying natural? They're just guessing. They don't want to say that maybe it was a civilization that nuked itself into oblivion.
Maybe so.
Yeah, but why
It's just
else
an
would
idea.
they say natural?
Compounding the mystery is the fact that Mars has a surface layer of elevated levels of uranium and thorium. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what
Bro,
that means.
they nuked the whole planet.
Imagine.
They were fighting over some fucking
Imagine.
border town, and they just like us, and
Imagine.
they went fucking postal.
How crazy would that be? How do you nuke a cloud of gas though? Because that's what aliens are. No, I don't know.
You want to know something crazy? You know how
Sir.
much a cloud weighs?
Do you know how much a cloud weighs? That's like if it was Eddie Bravo, like he wouldn't have brought up the cloud thing. But Post Malone, you can just be like, listen, you know how much cloud weighs? And Post Malone's just like, oh, we're talking about clouds now? Cool. He's a laid back guy. Really, really fun podcast. Like this podcast is like the essence of what JRE is. It's the essence of it. It's just they're talking about Atlantis. They're talking about NPCs. They're talking about MK Ultra. They're talking about aliens. Like they just so many good things. If you're working a shift at work and you can have headphones in, this is the podcast to listen to. Your whole day will go by of you just hearing crazy talk. It's so good. It's so good. I love it. This is going to be one of those ones that I listen to like maybe even 3 or 4 times because it's just, I like it. I like having it in the background. Like I was listening to it just now before we even started. Man, but Joe was a little calmer when it came to the whole photoshopping thing. He was a little calmer with Post Malone, rather than Eddie Bravo. Maybe because him and Eddie are like they're like brothers basically. I think they met when like around the same time as Brian Callen. I think they met when they were like early 20s. They're in late 50s now, mid 50s. So now it's just like, you're my brother, and if you're saying some stuff I don't like, I'm going to tell you to shut your mouth, like that kind of vibe that they have with each other, But then it's all love in the end. I love it. I love watching those relationships because as somebody who watches the show like I do, I've literally watched them. You're watching a friendship grow and harden and become like family, and it's just like there's just so much love there. I love to see it. But what do you think? What do you think? What do you think with NASA doing that type of stuff? It's very interesting. It's very interesting to think about They have to enhance certain pictures, which makes sense. But here's the thing with Eddie Bravo and Joe Rogan talking, when they're talking about the picture of the earth and Eddie's saying it's fake. I can completely understand why somebody would think that it's fake, because what else do you have to compare it to in your mind? If I showed you a picture of a car, you'd be like, I see cars all the time. That's a car, cool color, nice rims. I understand a car. But if you saw an actual picture of a planet from, like Joe said, 22,000 miles away, you have nothing to compare that to in your mind. So you're going to be guided towards, this can't be real. I as a person, my whole bloodline, I have never seen a planet in this way. I don't understand what I'm seeing. You know? Like, it's not like we see planets from that distance all the time. So the natural inclination for some people is going to be like, that can't be real. That can't be real. That's not really what it looks like. You know? It's a little less, it's more odd to think that it's real right off the bat than it is to think that it's fake off the bat. But it's more than likely you just never been exposed to it. Your whole bloodline, like if I was able to take you and I just snapped and we were that far away from the planet, we didn't need air, we were just looking at the planet, your whole DNA would change. There's actually a theory about this, that once we start seeing planets like that, our DNA will actually change, because you're doing something that has never been done in your entire bloodline. Your entire bloodline, there's not one person to ever have lived with your parents' DNA, grandparents, great-grandparent, ancestry. None of them have seen a planet like this. So your DNA would like change. It would mess with your mind. You know, you hear a lot of astronauts talk about it. Whether or not you believe in that kind of thing, you do hear astronauts talk about it and how life-changing it is and how emotional it is. And that makes sense. It's like if you become a father. Like right now, you can only picture your wife and, you know, down there. You can only picture it one way. But then all of a sudden she has a baby and the baby comes out and you go, oh my God. You know what I mean? You've never made a person. You've met many kids before, right? You've seen pregnant women. But when all of a sudden you do it and you hold your kid for the first time, it's just like, this is mine? This one? Like this one? I made this one? And I'm talking from a man's perspective. Imagine from a woman's perspective. There's certain things that you've never done that once you do them, it's just like, it just shifts your whole existence. So I would imagine seeing a planet is one of those things. Just to let you know, if you watched until this point, like the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. But I also want to just say that from now on, when my wife and I do a video, and there's a lot of research that goes into it, any documentaries or clips that we pull up, I'm going to be putting them on a playlist called The Research. It's a public playlist, and it just helps people, you know, watch exactly what we watched to get our notes and to get our conversation from. And I'm probably even going to do it when I can with episodes like this. So if you check The Research, you'll be able to see full clips. You know, I can only play so much without getting hit with like copyrights and stuff like that. So I'll put that there so you can see the whole thing of what I'm talking about. And I'm going to try and keep that updated throughout the week. It's going to be a lot of work, but I want everybody to be up to speed and to be able to shout out those YouTube channels, because there's so many YouTube channels that help me out with what I do. So hopefully that helps them a little bit. They start getting hits as well. They start growing as well. More information for everybody. It's much better. So other than that, again, subscribe if you haven't, like if you haven't. And other than that, I'm out. Episode 511. Let's go. And let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think. Are you one of those flat people? Are you one of those globalists? Are you one of those people who just doesn't know? That's the camp that I'm in. I'm in the camp of I don't know, and there's no way for me to know. And as soon as there is, I'll take that chance and I'll go and, you know, into space and do all that stuff. But for now, I don't know. So it's all just fun to think about. Other than that, guys, I am out.